Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, today we are going to discuss a topic called bearings. Now, what is bearing? It's about O-level mathematics D3. Now, we'll start with compass bearing. Now, what is compass bearing? Compass bearings always begin with north or south, whichever is closest to the angle. So, we can start with north or south, whichever is closest to our required angle. Suppose we have a north, south, east and west, and we start with a 0 degree, 90, 180 degree, 270, or you can say that 360 degree. Now we split north 45 degree east. When we split 90 into two parts, we have 45 degree, and we can write it as n45 degree east, or you can split further and you can write it as s south 135 degree east. You can say that this is your south 225 degree west, and lastly you have north 325 degree west. You can also subdivide this into further parts like this. We have a when we divide 45 by 2, we have 22.5 degree. So you can say that 22.5 degree is north northeast, or just add for to 22.5 in 45 degree, you have 67.5 degree, and then 120.5 degree, and you can say that 157.5 degree, 202.5 degree, 247.5 degree, 302.5 degree, and lastly 347.5 degree. It's a simple presentation of compass bearing. Now, I will explain you with a simple example. Now, what is compass bearing? We know that compass bearing always begin with north or south, whichever closest to the angle. The first example is closest to the north. The bearing of Mr. Atif from Mr. Shoaib can be described as n north 45 degree towards east. You can say that Mr. Atif, Mr. Shoaib, make a north line. You have your north, south, east and west, and angle 0 degree, 30 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree, 270 or 360 degree. Now, angle of Mr. Atif from Mr. Shoaib is 45 degree, and you can write it as n 45 degree east, north 45 degree east. So, in this type, you can take angle from north. Now, another example, the bearing of Mr. Atif from Mr. Shoaib can be described as S45 degree west. Notice that the Mr. Atif is 45 degree towards the west from the south, and 225 degree is 45 more than 180. You can see this is Mr. Atif, Mr. Shoaib. You can make a north line, Mr. Shoaib, and north, south, east and west, and the angle between Mr. Shoaib and Atif is 225 degree. Now you can take angle from south, because in compass bearing you can take angle from north or south which is closest to the angle. So you can take angle from south and 45 degree towards the west from south. You can write it as 45 degree. In this case, start 0 degree from south. So our last answer is S 45 degree west, mean 45 degree towards the west from south. So it's a simple examples of compass bearing. Now we are going to discuss what is bearing. Okay, bearing. The true bearing to a point is the angle measured in a clockwise direction from the north line. True bearing, and sometimes we call it as a simple bearing. A true bearing is a point. It's a point in which angle measured always from north line, and we always take clockwise direction. We will refer to bearing simply as bearing, or in some time we will refer to the true bearing simply as the three digits or simply a capital word T. Capital word alphabet T. T stand for true bearing, three digit bearing or simple bearing. Okay, things to remember. First one, always start from north. Second one, always take clockwise direction. Third one, always box out the letter that comes from and draw a north sign or like this sign on it. You must always box the letter that comes after from and draw a sign. And lastly, answer should be in three digit when 000 degree to 360 degree. We know that north, south, east and west. A simple way to remember this is a news. You can see that NEWS, N stand for north, E stand for east, W stand for west and S stand for south. So you can remember this with a simple word news. Okay, we have 000 degree. We start with north, 90 degree, 180 degree, 270 degree or 360 degree. So this one is a simple definition of bearing, or you can say that true bearing. You can write it as 000 degree T. T stand for true bearing. You can represent this with this letter T. Okay, next. Now we already know that the true bearing is a point of the angle measured in degree in a clockwise direction from the north line. I will explain you with two or three different examples. And we know that we have to start with bearing of Mr. Atif from Mr. Shoaib is Mr. Atif, Mr. Shoaib always box out the letter that comes after from Mr. Shoaib and draw a sign. So draw a north line, Mr. Shoaib, on Mr. Shoaib. This is your north, south, east, west. Again, you can remember this by the word news. Okay. And 0 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree, 270 or 360 degree. And the angle between Mr. Atif and Shoaib is given 45 degree. Now we want to find the bearing of Mr. Atif from Mr. Shoaib. So make a north line, then always start from north and always take clockwise direction. And you know that the clockwise direction is like this. So our last answer is starting from north line. You can see that. So our last answer is must be three digits. So angle from Mr. Atif from Mr. Shoaib is, the angle of Mr. Atif from Mr. Shoaib is 45 degree. Got it? Okay, next. Now, I will explain the bearing further with a simple example having four parts. In this example, find the bearing of part A from O, part B from O, part C, O from A, and O from B. We will discuss separately and we start with a part A. Now, we have to find the bearing of A from O. Okay, so this is your point A, this is your point O, and box the letter comes after from which is O, and make a north line like this. This is your north, east, south, and west. And given that the angle between O and A is what? 50, you can see on this diagram. The angle between O and A is 55 degree. And we have to know that, and we want to know that the bearing of A from O. So, always start with north line. Always take clockwise direction. So, you can say that the bearing of A from O is 55 degree. It's a simple example of bearing. Okay. Now we have to know some basic language, some basic word which we are going to use in bearing. That is, what is transversal? Now, a line that cuts across two or more usually parallel line is called transversal. Alternate interior angles. Here are some examples that some words that we are going to use in our next questions. So we should know about all the definitions. And the first one is alternate interior angles. What is alternate interior angles? Alternate interior angles are a pair of angles on the inner side of each of two lines but on opposite side of the transversal. Suppose if we have line L1, L2 and a transversal line cut this, and we already know that a line that cuts across two or more lines is called transversal. Then the interior angle you can see on a green part, anterior angles, and an orange part, anterior angles. They are called alternate interior angles. Okay. Now, acute angle. What is an acute angle? The angle lies between 0 to 90 is called acute angle. And what is an obtuse angle? The angles lies between 90 to 180 degree is called obtuse angle. And reflex angle. What is reflex angle? These are the words which we are going to use in bearing. So we must understand what are they. The what is a reflex angle? A reflex angle is an angle whose measure is greater than 180 degree but smaller than 360 degree. That it must be greater than 180 degree but must be less than 360 degree. Then the angle is called reflex angle. Okay. The next definition, for example, you can say that 225 degree, you can take it from south 180 degree plus 40. You can write it as 180 degree plus 45 degree. Okay. Okay, the next definition is vertical angles. Now, what is vertical angle? Two lines. Two lines that intersects from four angles, the angle that are opposite from each other, that are vertical angles. I repeat, two lines that intersect from four angles. The angle that are opposite from each other are called vertical angle. You can say that suppose you have your L1, L2 line and angle between them like orange and green one. They are called vertical angles. Now, vertical angle theorem states that vertical angle are always congruent. Okay, so two lines intersect at a point and form four angle. You can see that these two lines L1 L2 intersect at a point say O and form four angles, and with the help of vertical angle theorem, vertical angles are congruent, or you can see on this diagram angles alpha and beta are congruent, and likewise angle gamma and delta are congruent. So vertical angles are always congruent. So we use this definition in our next examples or exercise. Okay, now I am going to continue our example, which is we have to find the bearing of, in our second part, B from O. B from O. So this is your point B, this is your point O, and make a north line at point O. So this is your north line, east, west, south. Okay, and the given angle is 0 degree, 90, 180, 270. Write it for most simplest form. And the given angle between O and B is, what is angle? 25 degree. So the angle between B and O is 25 degree. But we have to know, we have to find the bearing of B from O. So start with north line, and you can see that the blue one we have to find this angle, and you can know that 0 degree, 90, 180, 270 degree, and you just add 25 degree into 270 degree. So 270 plus 25 degree, you have your answer 295 degree. So the last answer, the bearing of B from O is 295 degree. Got it? Okay. Next we move on to our third part or C part, which is find the bearing of O from A. Okay, find the bearing O from A. So make, this is your O, this is your A, make a north line at the given, at point O, angle is 55 degree. It's a given, the angle between O and A is 55 degree. But in this part, we have to know that the bearing from A, and we know that we have to make a north line at point A. So make a north line, you have your north, south, east, west, 0 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree, and here we use the definition or theorem, which is an alternate interior angles. And now alternate interior angle, like if this angle is 55, then this angle is also 55 degree. You can see on this diagram 55 degree, and which is we are going to use, we are going to find last angle O from A, and we start with north line. And we know that the angle 0 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree. So just add 55 degree into 180 degree. So our last answer is 235 degree. So the bearing of A from O from A is 235 degree. Simple as it. Next, our last example is to find the bearing of a O from B. Now this is your O, and the angle from O and B is 25 degree. But we have to find the bearing O from B. So make a north line at point B. So this is your north line, east, south, west. Now use again alternate interior angles. What this is your angle 25, or you can say that again this is your angle 25, and you have to find the bearing always from north line like this. Mean you have to find 90 plus 25 degree. The bearing of O from D is, so just add 90 plus 25 degree, you have 115 degree. So the bearing of O from B is 115 degree. So student, uh, I am going to discuss this further bearing. It's a simple bearing. Then we start with basic bearing and then so on. This is your part one of bearing. Inshallah, I will give you some more examples, some more knowledge about bearing in my next lecture. So stay tuned and Allah Hafiz.